Hey guys, this is my review of the original 1974 cult classic, The Texas Chain Saw Massacre, and it's about these group of five teenagers that are on a road trip, and there's these uh, grave stealers that have been kidnapping bodies from graves, and Sally and her brother Franklin are wanting to see if their grandfather is fine. He hasn't been dug up and moved out or anything or kidnapped, and he is fine. Their grandfather's grave is fine. They go on their way to whatever destination they're going to next. Um, their other three friends that are tagging along with them, Jerry's the driver. Kirk and Pam are the other two friends. They're in a relationship. Pam believes in astrology, and Kirk is, I guess, a nice guy. He doesn't have much of a characterization. Neither really is Jerry. Franklin is more of a paranoid guy. Again, he's an invalid individual. He's on a wheelchair. Yeah, not the brightest guy because he's probably a little bit of a mental handicap as well. Sally is obviously the leader of this movie, um, and everyone's just tagging along with her. Um, Along their trip, they pick up this hitchhiker and they're terrorized uh, throughout the film after seeing him, and they because they had to stop at what they think is their father's estate to look for gas because they're low on gas. More, they don't realize that what threats going to happen to them. Even though throughout the whole course of the film, the whole movie is about like fate. And August 18th, 1973 was just their time. Like the stars are aligned, and that was their time to, I guess, be deceased. Um, uh, and of course, like in all these horror films, this was the first in a teenage slasher film where there was five individuals going on a trip, and one by one of them gets killed, and one survives. Um, and other horror slasher films have copied this movie, and but this one, this one is like still might be one of the best. I think Psycho is still the best slasher film because that was the first one that started it all. But this was the first in like a teenage group that gets killed off. I think this is the best out of all of them because the writing for each of the characters is believable. You like the characters, um, uh, and they feel real. And once Leatherface comes up and doesn't hesitate to kill any of his victims, it's it's just truly frightening, shocking, genuinely scary film through then on out. Um, and it's very intelligent how, so like the main character Sally, how she just tries to escape the human spirit, just to survive, and and she does become us, the audience, and we're the protagonists. We're the one running away from these group of crazy cannibals, and the images to make this movie absolutely frightening, including that it was shot in a 16 millimeter camera, makes it even more eerie, makes it more gritty and grainy, and makes it look more like a documentary. Someone is just, it really does. It looks like someone's spying on them throughout the whole entire film. And that makes it also eerie as well. So good use for cinematography, good use for editing. Editing is very well done. It makes it even chilling, especially when you see the, like, bones around and Leatherface's home, and of both animals and humans. And it just creeps you out. The atmosphere creeps you out, and the lighting helps too, make it dark, and uh, uh, using limited lighting, and having the house look, just look unsanitary and unkept, uh, and then you have Leatherface. So you just see this guy wearing a skin mask and you see underneath from one scene that he's just probably scarred underneath, and the masks he wears is the personality he's now is, and the old guy is dead or what from too much pain, and because they're from a farm community that slaughters cattle, and so there I guess there could sort of be like psychological thing that somehow flared in that family. Because Leatherface isn't the only one. He has two other brothers, one older, and the hitchhiker is also his younger brother. Well, the other youngest brother, and then they have a grandfather, and they all are cannibals, and 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 you know you can see little references from Silence of the Lambs from this movie, but I think this movie goes a little more gruesome because of the cannibalism. It's much more I don't know, somehow you understand a little bit more in this movie than you did Silence of the Lambs, because actually they do show like the grandfather sucking on Sally's finger and when it's bleeding, and that is very disturbing scene. And also adding the sound effects to that, you know, the sucking sound. It's a very disturbing scene, and it just again it never lets up. The whole movie it has that creepy vibe with the whole film, and that's where today's horror films have like the flickering lights going on and off and using tricks like that. This one didn't do any of those tricks. It just had the environment was just a bit run down and not kept up, and you know, because it was their old grandfather's place that their father just owns to keep it going, and again because they know next door when they walked up the hill that there was a group of crazies that lived there, and so everything in this movie has a purpose. It's a very intelligent script. Characters are likable. The horror is, again, it's genuinely scary, and the main protagonist who that does escape is just very brave about a lot of stuff that they had her do, and to have her escape and stay alive. It's just very realistic too, and I give Texas Chain Saw Massacre 4 stars. I think it is an excellent horror film. Yes, it does. It's a little bit outdated because it's psychedelic scenes and with the editing, but that was like the norm in the late '60s, early '70s. A truly remarkable film, and a truly scary film as well. And that's why slasher films are that scary, in my opinion. This one is one of them that is truly scary for a slasher film. And have a good time with the movies.